Morning everyone, we're on the 25th of July. I thought I'd show you how the plot's going. There's me pretty bit, it's looking really good, I'm well pleased with that. So let's come on round, let's have a look in the cold frame. I'll call it a cold frame, but it's not really a cold frame, it's a blinking hot frame lately. I've got in there some, I've put a couple of melons in. And you'd have to look back to see where the melons were when I put them in, to look at last month. But there we go, look at that. Chuffed and Ignox, I've got a melon. Right, come on round now to our greenhouse. Let's look in the greenhouse. Once again, as last month, the greenhouse is being taken over by Triffid. So let's go and have a look inside. Well, actually I'm quite pleased with what's going on in there, even though it's the dense jungle. There's that couple of peppers there, they're Dutchy, and look at them, they're absolutely huge. I mean that one there, it's got to be 8 inches long. And then once again, chuffed and Ignox again, look, I've got a melon. So I'm quite pleased with that. The tomatoes are coming on okay. Generally speaking, I've had a couple of tomatoes. That's the save seed. Then they're getting to be 4 or 5 years old now, and the peppers in pots are doing well. But I can just about climb in here. But this Cape gooseberry is taken over entirely, and I can't even give you an impression of what it's like. It's just taken over. And I've been thinning it out like mad, but I have been picking them and eating them, so it's really a case of, is it worth that amount of space being taken up for what you're going to get for it? And I think perhaps not. So next year I probably won't. But then I've got a cherry tomato down here that seems to love the shade. Look at it, it's loaded with tomatoes, and I've been picking them as well. So really and truly, I suppose inside here it's all going well. Yeah, look at the peppers. There's just loads of them. Must be giving them away, I expect. Right, let's go on outside. Outside, the Cape gooseberry that survived the winter that was outside is doing equally as well. There's no ripe ones on that, but as you can see, it's growing and bushing out. And then I had this little raised bed that was carrots, is now beans and lettuce. The lettuce is doing well, but they're finding the heat just too much. But I've sown some more. All the blackberries, black currants and red currants have all been picked. Not a huge haul this year, but satisfying. Enough to make a few pots of jam anyway. Strawberries are finished. Well, say finished, it was a very short season this year, about a fortnight I reckon, maybe 3 weeks. But there's a few that still continue to flower, the ones that are in the shade. Then over the back here, the onions, they're beginning to lay over. They're nice size onions. I'm looking quite pleased with those. So probably I might leave them there a couple more days, unless we've got a lot of rain forecast, and then I should pull them out. So we come on round to our little raised beds and see what we've got going here. Then we've got the cauliflowers that I put in there surviving, even though the pigeons are taking a little liking to them already, so I'll cover them with some wire, and I've sown some more that were ahead in April. This bed that last one where the cauliflowers were, that was peas. There were peas in there, and now I've sown a row of carrots, later row of carrots, and some and I've planted out some celery. I'm going to give it another go. I've never been successful with celery, but we're going to give it a go on this little raised bed. Then all the broad beans are finished. But what I did was, because I don't need this patch, this is going to be the shallots, what I've done is I've just cut the broad beans off, and they've started to regrow, and I'm even getting some beans on them. So leave them for a bit longer yet. This was where the shallots were. They've all come out now. I've taken them out, and then last week I sowed some. I'm turning this into like a salad bed, and I've sown some cress, some spinach and some rocket, and they're all coming up already. They've only been in a week and they're all coming up and showing. There you go, look at that. So I've put the wire over, of course, to keep the birds off. Pigeons here really do wreck everything. And then where the peas were, the higher bed, I've sown carrots. So I'm expecting us to have a wet autumn, so those carrots are in the higher raised bed. If we do have a wet autumn, then they'll survive. If we don't, then I've got to keep watering, haven't I? There we go, let's move along. Grapevines, as you can see, they're very thick, even though I've been in there and I've been thinning out the actual grapes themselves, and I've been thinning the plants, and it's looking good. They're looking really good. Look at that. That's beginning to fatten out evenly, which is a good. When I say evenly, what I mean is that each bunch of grapes has got the grapes are all roughly the same size. In some years they've been big grapes and little tiny grapes, and where they haven't pollinated properly or something, or not watered properly. But in this case it looks good, and I haven't watered these grapes at all. I've just relied on their own roots. Asparagus, yeah, I've just left them now to build up their strength for next year. I did give them last month a dressing of blood, fish and bone. Moving along now to my sprout bit. I managed to get one straight out of 6. The pigeons and the slugs polished them all off. I'm really going to have to sort something out here. I think probably that I've got just too much growth everywhere. But anyway, there you go. So we've got one sprout plant. Let's say, who cares? So one sprout plant. Where those peas were going, I've pulled them out. Well, I cut them off, rotivated, leaving the roots in, and I've put a row of spinach through, which is all coming up nicely. And that row of beans, or little group of beans here, they're doing good. And the parsnips, I have to confess, they've been a bit of a struggle this year, in as much the ones I grew in tubes are doing very nicely. Now the ones over the back, look, and so they're doing quite nicely, but the ones I sowed, some come up and some didn't, so I did another sowing and so on, and I will end up with a row of all different size ones. And then under there is the leeks. I think they're doing good. I've been fairly busy, so I haven't been checking on them. But oh yeah, look at that. They're doing really nicely. I put a row of strange looking potatoes in there. Somebody gave me some last year, and they're excellent for putting in stews and things. You can cook them and they don't fall to bits. And they're a bit odd shaped, but they are good. Supposed to be good for curries and things like that. Then my courgettes, they're doing superbly. There's so many courgettes, but this is the old story with courgettes. Let's go in and have a close look at a couple, shall we? There we go, there's one growing there looking at us. It's slightly too big really, but I've had some really tremendous ones, but I really do need it. They're growing so quick you can't get to pick them quick enough, and then if you're not careful, they end up as marrows. But despite what people say they're not marrows, they are courgettes. Marrows is marrows and courgettes is courgettes. But anyway, there you go, so they're doing good. Quite pleased with that, and the tubes are working a treat. Then the sweet corn that came from seed, a proper packet of seed, a real packet of seed, they're kind of different heights, but they've all got corn on, and they look as though they're going to be good corn. We'll see. And then over the back there is my marrows. Let's have a little wander over the back. There we go. There's some really. There's a nice one growing in there. Look. How's that? So I'm quite pleased with that. Once again, the watering tubes have worked a treat. Let's move along to our sweet corn. Well, not sweet corn. This is my squash pot, my squash patch. Remember, the squash were suffering last month. They seem to just not want to grow. Well, they seem to have recovered, and as you can see, they're looking quite good. If I look very carefully, there's a few small squash on there, but what I did do, you can see there's one just underneath that flower there, look. What I did do is I sowed some more only 4 or 5 weeks ago, and they've grown and they've caught up. The moral there is, don't sow your squash too early. And over the back there I've got a yellow courgette. Somebody gave me that, and it's a huge plant, and the courgettes are gorgeous. So I'm well chuffed with that as well. Then my tomatoes that's in that with the fleece rain, they're doing good. There we go. That's Moneymaker and House of Craig. I've mixed there. There's a couple of ripe ones on there, look. So to get ripe tomatoes, where are we? 3rd week of July. I'm quite happy with that. And I should pinch the top set of these now to stop them from growing any. On there, this jungle-like thing that you can see here, in there is the pumpkins, and in there is also sweet corn, and round the bottom of the sweet corn are beans to give the pumpkins a bit of shade. I've not been in there yet. I've got a feeling I've got pumpkins growing in there. The beans have overtaken the sweet corn. And I think I've got some little beans on there, but I haven't looked at them. Oh yeah, I can see some there right on the very top. So I suppose this is how Three Sisters works. I've tried it a couple of years now in a row, and there's always been something that stopped it from working perfectly. Either the beans didn't grow, the squash didn't, well, whatever. There's always been something. But this year it looks like it's worked. And the pumpkin plant's absolutely huge, but it's going to take over, which is what it's meant to do. I'm supposed to be digging them potatoes so that the pumpkin plants can then fall all over the green where the potatoes were. But there you go. And I've started digging my potatoes. Earlies were absolutely superb, all a nice shape, no infection of any sort, no scab, nothing. Absolutely gorgeous. So I'm well pleased with that. So from a different angle, there's the pumpkin plants. They've just simply taken over that section, and they're creeping out over the potatoes, which I've been digging, which is what the intention is for them to be able to creep out over the potatoes. Well, not over the potatoes, but over the area where the potatoes were after I've dug them. And I've been digging the potatoes. They've been absolutely superb. The earlies were brilliant. No infections, nothing, no scab, no worms, nothing. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I've got me later ones here. They're just almost ready to be dug. And then there's the grapevine at the back. Once again, it's looking brilliant. The grapes are looking superb. We've got some really nice bunches of grapes. The pond, it's got a leak. It's nearly dry. I haven't been putting water in it, purely because it's been really hot, and I should be preserving water really. There's enough water in there to sustain any life that's in there. And then right at the top end here, remember those carrots I put in a tub? They're doing good. I've had a few pullings of those, and I'm trying a tub of tomatoes and peppers on the outside in pots, and look, they're doing quite good. So there we go. Let's give you a swizzle round and show. Oh, well, the apple tree, I've got 7 apples on it. The peach tree, no peaches, but it looks like I may well have cured that rust with Bordeaux and clipping them out. And the pear trees behind all them sunflowers. So there we go. There's the whole plot, with the sun in a different direction. I usually always do this filming later in the day, but this is early morning. The sun's up and it's showing towards me. Look, so everything is looking good. I'm chuffed to bits, really. Okay, we'll see you in August. Bye.